Think about the earliest memory you have. Really try. Maybe it's a birthday cake with too many candles. Maybe it's a face leaning over you warm and familiar. Whatever it is, you were probably at least 3 years old. And everything before that, the first steps, the first words, the first laugh, gone, completely gone. You lived through those years. You experienced every second of them, and yet your brain kept none of it. Why? This isn't a glitch. It isn't damage. It happens to every human being on the planet. Scientists call it infantile amnesia, and the reason it happens is far stranger than you might expect. For a long time, the leading explanation was simple. Bobbies just don't have the hardware yet. Their brains are too undeveloped to form lasting memories. It seemed logical, except it's wrong, because bobbies can form memories, real ones. Researcher Carolyn Rovee-Collier showed that infants as young as 2 months old could learn that kicking their leg made a mobile move. They remembered this days later. The memory was there, so why does it all vanish? The answer starts with your hippocampus, the brain's memory filing system. Every experience gets processed here before it becomes a long-term memory. When you were born, your hippocampus was still being built. New neurons were flooding into it at an extraordinary rate, and researchers like Frankland at the Hospital for Sick Children discovered something counterintuitive. This rapid neuron growth doesn't help memory, it destroys it. New neurons disrupt the connections already there. The wiring gets overwritten, whatever was encoded disappears. Your brain was growing so fast in your first 2 to 3 years that it was constantly erasing itself, not because it was weak, because it was exploding with development. But this doesn't fully explain why you can't remember being 2.5. By then the growth had slowed, something else was happening. Psychologist Catherine Nelson found that to remember something as a personal experience, you need a self to store it as. You need to understand that you are you, that the thing happening is happening to someone, that someone being you. Very young children haven't built this yet. The experience lands, it registers. And then it floats away, because there is no self to anchor it to. Language matters here too. Research by Robin Fivush at Emory University showed that parents who regularly retell shared events to their children in rich, detailed language help those memories survive. The memory itself isn't what sticks. The story about the memory is. Some trace of those early years does survive, just not in the form you'd expect. Implicit memories, the kind stored in your body and your emotional responses, do persist. You may not remember the first time you were held by someone who made you feel safe, but your nervous system does. The explicit memory is gone, the emotional imprint remains. The most formative period of your entire life is also the one most completely hidden from you. You learn to breathe, to recognize a face, to trust, to fear, to reach for things. You learned language. You learned love. All of it in a state of amnesia you will carry forever. So the next time you reach back into the very beginning and find nothing there, know that the blankness isn't emptiness. It's the price of becoming. Think about the earliest memory you have. You were probably 3, maybe 4. Everything before that is gone, not lost, just built into you so deep it no longer needs a name. There is something almost philosophical about this. You didn't just lose your early memories. In a very real sense, you weren't yet the person who could have them. The self that would eventually become you didn't exist yet. It was still being assembled neuron by neuron, word by word, story by story. The baby in those photographs is not quite you. It was something that became you, and the becoming erased the before. Every human who has ever lived carries the same void at the start of their story. Not because the beginning wasn't real, but because you were too busy being made to remember any of it.